Black Friday, the busiest shopping day of the year, supposedly. I don't know if that still holds true now in the online um, buying age. It might be different. It might be the busiest clicking day of the year. Still might be the busiest spending day of the year. It's the 24th. We are just about a year away from Christmas. A month away. Don't know what I'm saying. Um, and brings to mind some of the things I talked about earlier this morning after my workout, um, about this being Black Friday, money's being spent, crowds are being braced, lines are being waded in, people are being shoved. Um, it is not the happiest time of the year. I believe suicide rates go up um, considerably around this time, and more psychologists have said that we have a pandemic of loneliness in the country, even amidst people, even in the middle of a family atmosphere. We still have that loneliness serving as a pandemic. And the actual pandemic didn't help. It isolated us. Isolated me quite a bit because I had to stay safe for my father, being his primary caregiver, him being, I guess during the years of the pandemic, he was 90, 91, 92, thereabouts. He died at 93. The pandemic was not over. It still isn't fully over. People still continue to suffer. But it was coming to an end. It was getting safer when he passed away. We had the shot, so things were a little safer, a little more at ease. But I had to shut down my business. I've mentioned that before. I had a small training business as well as teaching people meditation, and I could no longer do that in my home. I didn't feel safe going to other people's homes. Some of the people that I had previous trained had told me that they were they had that pandemic, which means I would have brought that home to my father. And in his 90s, with some present health issues, and getting close to when the congestive heart failure was really going to kick in, and that's what ended his life. It would have been too much for him to bear. He would not have survived COVID. So I became very isolated. And with his death, you would think maybe I'd step out a bit, but even more so. My routine that I have sort of entrenched me further into being isolated. Not necessarily in a bad way. That and that might be or become an issue, because as I get more and more entrenched in that isolation, I'm less inclined to step away from it, step out of it. I'm very familiar with the routine that I have, and it has brought me great joy to a large extent to spend this time quite a bit alone. I do have company of Mocha, my brother, a few friends from time to time, and I get to hang out with you guys online. But I've definitely embraced that isolation, and I could see how it would be a problem at some point, because we can't fully, and we shouldn't fully, isolate ourselves. Our friend Destiny Forever Walks, PhD, is here. Happy Friday and blessings, Eric. How are you? I'm doing well, and I hope you are too, Destiny. I hope you had a good holiday, and I hope you're settled into your new place. This was your first holiday in Alabama, so I hope it went smoothly and you were settled in and comfortable. I'm talking about isolation, how this is a hard time of year for a lot of people, the holiday season can really kickstart not just spending, but again, that sense of isolation, that sense of loneliness. And a lot of people get deeply depressed this time of year. For me, having suffering through um, low-lying depression, it definitely worsens this time of year. Not necessarily due to the holidays, but less light, which has a deep effect on me. Colder weather has a deep effect on me. So the practices that I do all serve to carry me through these days, to carry me through that heaviness that this time of year brings me. Because when you do suffer from a low-lying depression, the extra weight of winter, the extra weight of cold, and the extra weight of holidays can certainly cause some issues, cause some problems, and deepen that sense of heaviness. So the meditation, the early walks, more time in nature, yoga twice a day, as well as working out, getting those endorphins up. Having 2 cats and a visiting dog, having Mocha come spend time with me, all of that helps. And I hope anyone who suffers likewise, I hope that you find the things that work for you. It's important. Diet's important. In yogic philosophy and Ayurvedic philosophy, there is the 3 gunas, and the gunas are, let's kick that back a bit and take out philosophy and talk about psychology, yogic psychology. The 3 gunas are the 3 qualities of every element, every aspect of life. They are life itself. It's the universe itself, the backdrop quality of the universe. And there's 3 of them. And one is that higher, agitated, quicker, faster quality. The other is the slower, more heavy, thick type quality. And then you have the middle, sattvic, which is purity. The goal of diet, the goal of our routines, are to move more and more into that sattvic, into that purity. So what we eat is either taking us in the opposite direction or it's taking us to that level of purity. Live food takes you to that purity. The more life, the better. The less it needs to be cooked, the better. That's not saying eat raw meat, of course, but it makes you consider that if you have to cook something for a truly long period of time, it might not be the best thing to be eating. Destiny says, thanks, Eric. It is all coming along, but yet still busy trying to settle things and find time to be myself again without all the distractions and interruptions. Moving is difficult. No doubt about it. I think if I had to move, I would give most of my stuff away. Take with what little I could bring with me. If I were to move, I've often thought of actually moving to a monastery. I have some issues with that, but it has a big attraction as well. At one point, I had seriously considered a monastery or an ashram. And who knows what the future will bring. I've mainly have brought my life to a very monk-like level where it is now. And that's been a source of comfort. I've mentioned before, if I could find a way of easing my tax situation, the taxes where I live are outrageous in a house that's paid for. And as I mentioned before, I don't mind paying taxes because I know they benefit. We have some of the best schools in the country here. We have roads, streets, libraries, all things that run efficiently thanks to those taxes. But man, so much and so high that if you're on a fixed income, it's literally like they're pricing you out of your home. So I need to um, find a way to coincide my monk-like living that does bring me a great amount of joy um, with paying the taxes, as well as the mundane things, groceries. I basically have a fairly simple life. Since I'm not racing all the time anymore, I don't need to buy running shoes every couple of months. Every so often, but not every couple of months. I still have a slight addiction to books. I buy books fairly often. But other than that, it's a pretty simple, pretty easy life that I have. Blessed, fortunate. I just need to work on my YouTube empire to help me pay the bills. And at 334, I think, I don't rightly remember how many I have, subscribers, my YouTube empire is off to a very slow start. I've had some helpful suggestions on improving my YouTube channel, but I think there's only so much I can do. One, with a relatively cheap smartphone. Two, not being very creative digitally, being limited in my knowledge digitally. I'm not limited in my creativity itself. I personally feel that creativity is never limited. Our reception to creativity might make us seem limited, but we're not the sole source of that creativity. The universe at large is that source. We live in a creative atmosphere. Creativity itself, the universe is constantly creating itself. Consciousness is constantly creating and recreating itself. So how could we ever be limited in that way? But we believe we are, so we refuse to open up to that unlimited source of creativity, that unlimited source of inspiration. If we can open ourselves to it, again, we just continue to produce. For me, it is mostly channeled through my writing and coming here and having conversations. I'm not going to be ever, I'm just not bent in that direction of being a digital creative. My friend Destiny here, if you watch her videos, she's not just joyfully dancing on the treadmill. She has a great soundtrack. She does wonderful shorts, all kinds of stuff. Very creative. For me, my creativity sort of lies in talking in all directions at once, not holding a single subject for more than a couple seconds. That might be my creative digital inspiration. Destiny says that isolation times have benefits like improved sleep quality. Yes. Increased creativity. Yes. Time to focus on setting goals. Yes. Increased productivity and reduce stress, and more in tune with yourself and others. I agree 1,000% with everything you said. My life plays out as proof for all of that. And I will add, there's really, for me, there's a great deal of joy in that isolation. But it needs to be balanced for me, because I can go so deep into that that sometimes it's hard for me to get out. But I had been suffering stress, some anxiety brought on, and unbeknownst to me, because my body was demonstrating that without me even registering it at that point. But keeping my father safe from COVID had a high degree of stress, and my body rebelled, even though I thought I was handling it well because I was meditating and I was doing my yoga, because I was writing. It was unacknowledged. That's another thing in yoga psychology, that the way to make change isn't to grit our teeth and set that goal and say, I'm going to take care of this stress once and for all. The way of change is through awareness, simply becoming aware of what the issue is, and everything changes through that lens, through that energy that awareness brings to every issue. Nothing can change without awareness, because then you're just addressing the surface of any problem, the surface of any issue. You need to go deep. You need to go very deep. And yogic psychology says that in that depth, you find the imprints, the pattern of every behavior. Every behavior. And it could be from birth, and it could be from previous lifetimes. It doesn't matter what you believe. The fact is, the imprints are there, and the only way to heal is to bring awareness to those imprints, and then become aware. Through that awareness, we find that we can be responsive and not reactive. Destiny says, I did give away over 80% of my belongings when I moved here, but it's been difficult adapting to my new studio for burpees, and difficult adding to my new space and environment. Then I will have to move again in March 2024. Yeah, I could see how that would definitely be difficult. And I'm sorry to hear that you're going to have to move again in March. That's not that far away. Where are you going to move? Is it going to be relatively close to where you are now, or back to Florida? Our friend Reverend Terminator is in the house, who did a wonderful musical, did exactly what he promised. Within a space of an hour, he had ABBA, Thank You for the Burpees, up on the big wall and playing. Absolutely amazing that you could do that. Reverend says, Yoda Eric and Mama J, I have you on my rig, my studio for burpees and musical. Thanks. Definitely going to be checking that out. As always. Destiny says, I can imagine what you went through, trying to keep your father safe from being exposed to more health issues. Yeah, it was, again, I thought I was handling it well, but my body showed otherwise. Panic attacks, low-level anxiety through my life, grinding my teeth, all things that I missed. Breathing issues. Not a good time. But you know what? Totally worth the while. Totally worth going through all that to keep my father safe. And to be able to keep him at home. The vow that I took was my father was not going to die from COVID. If I could do anything in the world to prevent it, that he was not going to die isolated, without his family, without somebody being able to hold his hand, without knowing that he was loved and comforted. Reverend says, I saw your burpees, Eric. Thanks. SEALs. It was a grind today, for sure. I thought it might be 107. I actually think it was 110 reps, which has been about where I've been hitting it lately. Not a bad number. Reverend says, Eric, I know you love your father, your dog, and your ex-wife, all three. Yes, I certainly do. Very much so. It is, I'm not sure how I view when I think of, Milka. She's my ex-wife. She's been my companion for 20, coming on 22 years. No matter what. Not very many people could survive together the ins and outs that we've had, but always choosing one way or the other to be who we are, whatever that is. Inexplicable, unexplainable, can't be described. It's just her and I together doing what we do. Destiny says, still would be in Alabama, waiting to close on my new house. Time is pushed back to a later date, so everything is off key until then. I'm sorry to hear that. March isn't too far away, and then hopefully you can be settled by summertime. Reverend says it's hard to count them. I have to note every 10 on the wall. What I've been doing is having that set number. So when I say 5 a minute, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm only getting 5 per minute. It means I get 5, and then I just take a beat, I take a breath, and I start right in. So I might have 20 seconds left in that minute. So I count how much time I have saved up. So I know if I do 5 reps a minute, and that's it, in 10 minutes I'll get 50 reps. But if I have a minute saved up, that means I got an extra minute to get another 5 reps, which brings me to 55. Today I ended up with 2 minutes saved up. And I took it all the way through 11 minutes, which meant that I got 65 reps in 10 minutes. I need to count what I got when I dropped my reps down to 4. Reverend says, so you met her at 36. Yes. 36 years old. A couple years out of a long-term relationship that didn't work out. I was 2 years sober when I met her. I had quit drinking for about 2 years. I was still kind of dealing with the aftermath of being sober. It was a strange time, embracing that new reality of sobriety and the creativity that was coming into my life. And it was another period of purposeful isolation where I just wanted to meditate. I just wanted to see where I fit in after a long time of not fitting in anywhere. And finally, I hit this creative groove. My meditation practice deepened. I had a couple books that were self-published, but they were doing fairly well. I had some online communities that embraced my writing. I was flown several places to do some poetry readings. It was an interesting time, and I met Mocha, and opened me up to the idea of a relationship again. We were married 2 years later, minus a year she spent in, she did a tour of service through the Air Force in Iraq in 2007, 2008, when I stayed home and took care of Anika, my stepdaughter. So, and we were divorced in, I think, 2012 or 2013. Yeah, when was, Reverend says, well, she did service with the J. Jordan, who was in the Army, right? He was a Ranger. When was he in? Destiny says that, Eric, I can truly relate to your story. I can feel your vibe and your feelings as a divine connection. Thank you. And I agree. It's really a great sense of ease to be talking to two people. I can't hear your voice. And one person is 1,000 miles away in my country. The other person is several thousand miles away. And an entirely different continent, and yet I feel completely comfortable having a conversation um, with you two guys and the other people that joined in. I really enjoyed. I'm really enjoying this conversation, and I really enjoyed yesterday's quite a bit, especially talking about music, which is a connection that we all share. Even liking all kinds of different types of music, um, it's like I was talking about with the mystics, and how the mystics, no matter the tradition, a Buddhist mystic, a Hindu mystic, a Sufi mystic, a Christian mystic, will all speak the same language. They might use different terms, different descriptions, but the essence is all the same. And it's the same when we talk about music. We all have different tastes, but that love, that deep love of music, um, connects people across all spectrums, for sure. Reverend says probably, but he was in Iraq Freedom, I think, Army. Yeah, next time he pops in, I'm gonna have to mention that. And it'd be good for him to pop in when Mocha's here sometime. It's been a while since Mocha has had an opportunity to stop in. She is doing, um, she's using the remainder of her um, GI Bill to pursue American Sign Language. She's getting her bachelor's degree in American Sign Language so that she can continue helping people, which is a noble thing to do, to want to go back to school in order to serve people who are at a disadvantage. Typical of her, wanting to help somebody. So, one of the things I started talking about earlier, which brought in the talk of isolation, holiday depression, stuff like that, was I was talking about the immaterial. I'm actually going to write about that, maybe in my blog tomorrow morning, that this is really a time to celebrate the immaterial, except we do the opposite. You know, how much can I spend on Christmas this year? Is it going to be enough? Is my Christmas bonus going to be enough that I can afford to buy everybody what they want? It's an outward focus, and we miss the true holiness of the season. And we can approach that holiness not just through the lens of Christianity, but the fact that it's the time of the solstice. It's the time when we're most attuned to light and the absence of light. Shortest day of the year. However, from that day forward, we gain a little more light each day. It's really a spiritual metaphor that at our darkest is also when we are ready to start receiving the most light. At our lowest level, we're ready to expand and hold more light. And light, in essence, is exactly who we are. Not just spiritually, but physics. We emit this soft glow, our aura, our potentiality, and our power. It's all light. It can be seen with subtle eyes. It takes a special way of looking. We have to look at the immaterial and not just the material. We have to look at the essence of the body and not just the solidness of the body. But it's there, and not just for people who meditate to see, not just for people who have psychic powers, not just for anyone who is gifted in some way. It's there for all of us to see, because it's the light of our connection, the light of who we are. Again, it just takes proper looking, and proper looking means that you're letting go of distinctions, of descriptions. You're not looking at Eric as a bald guy with glasses and a mustache and goatee sitting in an office. You're looking at Eric in essence of spirit, much as if I could see you guys, I wouldn't see you by your description. I wouldn't deny the description. We don't deny the physical. We don't deny the material. But we place just as much emphasis on that immaterial. And this is a season of immaterial. It's not how much we give. It's how much we open. How much we open to. How much we can express ourselves. How much love can we put forth. Without love, it's just a season. It's just a season of gifts, of exchanging things that will be broken within a year, less than a year, things that we take a great interest in for a short period of time until something shinier, brand new, comes along. Our friend Lewis is here. It is what it is. Good morning, Eric, and chat. Salute to you all, and hope you all having a great day. I am. Thanks. Hope you are too. I know you're not in heavy training, but I hope you did something to burn off some of that big turkey that I saw you pulling out of the oven yesterday. Stuffed. And you said there were no leftovers, which is good, but it's also a little bit of a shame because sometimes, those next days, it's been 15, 16 years since I've had a turkey, but I do remember those day after Thanksgiving turkey sandwiches. So you're getting, he says Lewis is going to go to his wife's side today, so a whole another Thanksgiving dinner. You might need to come out of Burpee retirement early. It might need to be a month early. And Dusty says, yes, life is broken down into seasons. True. Lewis is gonna eat more turkey today. Turkey very heavy in tryptophan, which will help make you sleep. Definitely make you drowsy. I don't think there's football today, right? This is Friday. I know there was football yesterday. I don't know who played though. I've been lapsed in my following of the Raiders. I made a promise. I'm sticking to it. In my heart, I'm a Raiders fan now, but I haven't been following along. I'm just assuming that they're winning because I'm a fan. So it might be better if I don't follow along. If they are winning, I don't want to jinx anything. If they're not winning, it's better I don't know. Maybe it's better that I don't know. Of course, now I'm probably going to have to look it up. So, in essence, for, I guess the, Lewis says, I don't blame you, Eric. It's better that you don't know. That doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound promising. He says it's a roller coaster. Anyone else who watches this, after not paying attention to football forever and having some great conversations about football with Lewis and his infectious love of the Raiders, and I was just about to say the Oakland Raiders. That tells you how long it's been since I've even thought about football. Because they're no longer the Oakland Raiders. I think they're actually like twice removed from the Oakland Raiders. I think. That's what I feel. Lewis says the real Raiders still say Oakland. That's how I feel about the Baltimore Colts. That's why I never get behind the Ravens. The Ravens were the Cleveland Browns. We did the same thing. This is why, Baltimore has a beef against Indianapolis. They took the Colts. They didn't take the Colts. The Colts moved there. And Indianapolis embraced them. The same way as we didn't take the Cleveland Browns. We received them. We gave them a different name. Hey, at least they stayed the Colts. we changed everything. We gave them purple and named them after a bird. Having said that, I like all birds, particularly crows and ravens. Um, and I would have been just as happy had they called them the Baltimore Crows. It would have made less sense. Ravens make sense because of the Edgar Allan Poe connection. Um, but you know what? I like the sound of the Baltimore Crows. Crows are a highly intelligent bird, actually using tools. They have the um, emotional intelligence of a 3-year-old child. So I've read. Same with chickens, for that matter. Chickens are very intelligent, as are wild turkeys. Speaking of Thanksgiving, which is why well-known fact Benjamin Franklin wanted the wild turkey to be the national bird of the United States, which would have been a great pick because the turkey, again, highly intelligent, emotionally intelligent, and in the wild, extremely hard to hunt, and fed America. The wild turkey fed America for a very long time, was a staple. It is what it is, says the woody woodpecker bird trips me out. I actually like woodpeckers quite a bit too. Mocha and I on our walks are always on watch. There's 2 different types of woodpeckers. Fascinating bird to see. So imagine the capability of stabbing your beak into a tree repeatedly to get your dinner. Destiny says, I think so too. It is what it is. Why Vegas? A distraction and an attraction location. Not really sure Vegas needs a football team. Doesn't seem like a football town. You know, it's a gambling. Of course, you know, yeah, the gambling makes it a sports town, but it doesn't seem like specifically a football town. Like they would be just as happy with any activity being there that they could bet on. It doesn't have to be football. Oakland's a football town. The Oakland Raiders, and the Raiders was a perfect name for them. They were a down and dirty team. Pittsburgh Steelers, perfectly named, perfect team for Pittsburgh. Let's see. It is what it is. Says there's one pecking away, and my head started to hurt. Yeah, they are blessed with the capability of being able to do what they do. Perfectly evolved. Imagine being perfectly evolved to stab your head into a piece of wood thousands of times a day. Why would evolution lead you in that direction? You would think evolution would lead you in the direction of only having to stab your head into a piece of wood once. And then saying, well, I ain't doing that ever again. There's no cause for me to keep doing that. There's a better way. And of course, Eagles, not the football team, although Philadelphia Eagles is a great name for a football team and a great name for Philadelphia, of course. City of Liberty, city of brotherly love. But eagles themselves, the birds, are scavengers, and some might say less noble than a turkey, and certainly less persistent than a woodpecker. So my vote for the national bird would be the turkey or the woodpecker. Or the crow, taking it all the way back to crows and ravens. Although 2 days ago, Mocha and I saw 3 bluebirds on our walk. And bluebirds are definitely one of my favorite sights. A couple months ago, I was tracking owls first thing in the morning. Before dawn, in the dark, I would hear them, and my entire walk, 2 or 3 miles in the morning, would be tracking those owls by sound. And getting right under the tree taping them. Wonderful sound, absolutely amazing. And then, of course, researching the owls because I was writing about them, and I wanted to be able to get closer and closer. I came across the startling fact that they can be quite aggressive for people who try to follow them in the dark when they're going about their business. So, not the smartest thing for me to do. However, if I hear them, I still do it. It's just such a fascinating sound, and it stirs you right down to the soul, and I can't help it. I hear it, and I got to get out there and follow them every single morning, a couple of hours before dawn. Live in a great area of seeing all kinds of different birds through the year. Earlier, this was around March and June, there was a cormorant in the pond. The cormorant is a very prehistoric looking bird. It is not quite a goose, it's not quite a duck. Has a certain resemblance to both. It's a water bird. But it looks like it could fit in right out of the Stone Age. Amazing looking. And it made an appearance for quite a few months, and we would always be on the lookout for it. We got lots of ducks, lots of geese that don't migrate anymore. They stay here. And I have a fondness for ducks. I like geese as well, but geese, at certain times of the year, they can be complete assholes. For good reason. They're protecting their family. And geese and ducks, they mate for life, which is a pretty cool thing to do. Even humans don't do that anymore. Some humans don't do that anymore. But ducks just seem so vulnerable. Who could ever hurt a duck? You know, they're just heartwarming little birds. Absolutely love ducks. So that was a strange segue from football to talking about my love of ducks. This is why I deserve YouTube fame, because you won't get that on any other channel. I can absolutely promise you that you will not get a single conversation about limited knowledge of football, burpees, meditation, and a deep love of waterfowl and woodpeckers and owls. I actually, in my blog, I write quite a bit about nature, the spiritual connection with nature, how being out in nature is part of my meditation practice. My meditation doesn't just stop when I get off my meditation cushion. As a matter of fact, I could actually say that it begins when I open my eyes. I step away from the meditation cushion, and then I meet the world. I meet my inner world when I close my eyes. And then when I finish meditating and I stand up and I go outside in nature, I meet myself as the world. I meet myself as every aspect, from the bluebirds that I see, to the owls that I see, to the ducks that I see. Destiny says, thanks, Eric. And Lewis, it is what it is for the discussion. Thank you. Thank you for being here. If you have to go, it's actually coming up on 2 o'clock here, coming up on 45 minutes of talking. So now's a good time to wrap it up anyway, before I pick another bird to start talking about, that could take hours. Talking about any animal, actually. The whole conversation could take hours. So let's wrap it up here. Appreciate everyone showing up. I appreciate the talk, the company, the companionship. And Destiny threw it out there. She started things up again. The red cardinal. The red cardinal in winter is one of my all-time favorite birds to see. When everything else is so bleak and barren, the trees are empty, and then have it outlined with snow. Beautiful sight. It is the red cardinal any time of the year, but the cardinal in winter is heart-stoppingly beautiful. Absolutely so. I see them most every day. Same with catbirds. Catbirds are wonderful to listen to. We have all kinds of songbirds here. So, all right, guys, let's wrap things up. I knew if I started talking about birds, it's just going to go on and on. Or again, any animal. In June, backtrack just for a second, and then I'll let everyone go. In June, we had a bear wander through my neighborhood. The nearest bear population that we have in my area is about an hour away. But every year, right after bears give birth, the yearlings are driven away, and they wander around looking for their own territory, and we get 3 or 4 of them wandering through here. Back in June, we had one wander right through my neighborhood, right where I was walking. Didn't get a chance to see it, but we went out every day looking for it. Absolutely love seeing bears. Always feel blessed when I get a chance to see them. So, with that, we're definitely going to end it. Dusty says, okay, Eric, and thank you for sharing your wisdom and views on life. Enjoyed it. Thank you. And again, thanks for being here. Lewis, be safe on your second dinner. Be safe traveling if you have far to go. And I will see you guys tomorrow morning for burpees. Take care and have a good day, guys.